I'm Whitney.
I'm Mindy.
And I'm Deb.
We're three best friends who love nerdy things.
Well, some people think we're nerdy, but we think we're pretty awesome.
This is Our Nerdiest Thing.
Hello, fellow nerds, and welcome to Our Nerdiest Thing. Today, we are starting our discussion of Pucking Around by Emily Rath. We are talking about chapters 1 through 40. We will be sharing spoilers, so be aware as you listen with care. Do you like how I did that?
Like that.
I just thought of that.
That was fun, Dr. Seuss.
Thank you. Before we get into it, Deb, will you please share our nerdiest cocktail?
Of course. Tonight's drink is named Hey Hurricane.
Ooh, you got to
Just
say
like
it like that, though.
Hey Hurricane. It's themed after Hot Mess First Impressions, and this drink pairs well with surfer boys with cute dogs, exploding suitcases, and purple tentacle vibrators. It may cause embarrassing encounters with your sexy new coworker. It's really, really good. It is passion
good.
fruit puree, coconut rum, dark rum, lime juice, some other shit. You put it all up, you shake it all together, and then you drink it and you go, "Hey, Hurricane."
Bravo to this cocktail, Mindy.
Yeah,
It's
good
very
job, Mindy.
Delightful and delicious.
I love it.
And now it's time for our dirtiest recap. I forgot what it was called
It
for a
might
second.
actually be our dirtiest recap.
Dirtiest recap.
It might be. Mindy, have you spun the wheel o' names?
I have.
Is
it's me?
It's you.
Me. I'm so excited because this is my favorite book.
I'm excited that it's not me because I am not prepared.
Well, and there a lot happens, so we'll see if
It
I
is
even make
a lot,
it through.
yeah. All
You've
right.
done so good every other time.
Right?
I
might make it to number 7 this time.
Seven.
I've got your 60 seconds on the clock ready and go.
That's what she said.
Rachel goes for a new job and her suitcase explodes and her grumpy guy that picks her up is holding her purple tentacle dildo. Half naked Rachel locks herself out of her apartment and Caleb saves the day. Definitely some chemistry there. Caleb was a big deal player but suffered a career-ending injury and now he's the equipment manager for the Rays where she works. Rachel runs into Jake, defenseman for the Rays, an unforgettable hottie one-night hookup she definitely hasn't forgotten and neither has he. Ruh-roh. Rachel sends a tit pic to Jake and they have video phone sex. Hot. On the plane, Ilmari is an asshole because Rachel is in his lucky seat, but then they win their first game and she becomes his good luck charm. Rachel saves Caleb from a puck bunny by pretending to be his girlfriend and humiliates her, but it turns him on. Rachel, Jake, and Caleb get it on in a broom closet at a club. Holy shit, that's hot.
Show me your dick.
Rachel is a famous rock star's daughter and doesn't want to put Jake and Caleb through bad publicity, but then they talk her into moving in together. Rachel koalas Ilmari to make him talk to her, and he finally agrees to let her treat his terrible injury. And his dick.
That was like perfectly 60 seconds. You were right in
that
there.
felt
Good
like
job.
4 minutes. Like you got so much.
It was
in the
a
60
yeah. You
seconds.
did. Bravo.
And I left a ton out.
Golf claps for Mindy.
Golf
that was
claps all around.
that was really good.
Good job, Mindy.
Well, Mindy, it's still you to talk about our nerdiest vocabulary.
Catch my breath.
Just keep on going.
Hey, can I say in your 60 seconds, thanks so much for like telling us what their positions were, like on the ice, not in the bedroom. Like the one's a defenseman. Like I don't know where it said that, but apparently you picked it up somewhere. Does it say what their position?
I think it
does.
does,
I think
but
it-
I pay attention to that shit probably more
I
than you all
think it
do.
says it a lot.
I was paying attention to the
Although
other position.
I did read ahead too, so I might be thinking about it being mentioned later and
It
not in
mentions
these
it a
first.
lot more when they're actually playing games.
Yeah, when the games start. So
Okay.
I think it did mention it at least once, but
Because they've only had 2 games as far as I
they
read.
talk about it a lot
up
more.
through chapter 40.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll talk about it a lot more and remind you a lot.
Defenseman.
Yes,
Okay.
they really will.
All right. Well, I can't wait. Let's hear some vocab because I do not know. I don't sports. So help me.
I know. I figured it would be hockey terms.
It is hockey terminology this
Thank
time.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Well,
I got the dick stuff, but like,
honestly, I don't know if it's going to be that helpful because I left all the boring shit out. So
I
these are just
appreciate
like,
that as well.
These are just like the fun. Like some of them are major ones, but most of them were just fun, and some of them were new to me. So it was a very enlightening for myself as well. So the first term that they use is chiclets, and that's what they call their teeth.
gum.
It's what they call their teeth.
Oh.
So like he'll be like, "Oh, he lost a chiclet."
Oh.
Oh, that makes it sound worse.
I know.
So
right?
that really does happen often enough to give it a cutesy little name.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
There's actually a podcast called Spit and Chicklets where they
Ooh.
talk about hockey stuff. Okay, so the next one's an easy one. You've probably heard it. It's a hat trick, and it's when a player scores 3 goals during one game. And when they do that, typically, especially if it's in your own arena, everyone throws their hats onto the ice.
Oh.
And fun fact, last night, the Blues, my team, played the Avalanche, who everybody thought that they were going to kick our asses, and we beat them 8-2, and 2 of our players got a hat trick in the same game. That's kind of rare.
Well,
So,
good job, guys.
Good times. Golf claps for Braden Shen.
So how
and,
does everybody
Pavel
get their,
Buchnevich.
how does everyone get their hat back?
They don't.
don't.
Well, they do. Well, they do. They can. They put them all in a big
Lice bucket?
I think it's like a laundry basket thing or whatever. They put them all in a thing, and if you want to go look for your hat, you can.
I bet most people sacrifice the hat for the thrill
Somebody-
of belonging.
Actually, somebody recently
For the
threw
thrill
a
of
bra
almost tripping
also.
a hockey player on the ice.
Somebody at one of the Toronto Maple Leafs games this week threw their bra out there too. So that happens as well.
Was it as big as a hat? Because that'd be more exciting.
It looked like 2 hats actually.
Well, good for her.
So she was good for her boyfriend.
Sorry about your back, honey.
For real.
Okay.
Anyway.
So next one, it definitely could have some sexual connotation, and it has been insinuated before. This one's called the 5-hole, and that is actually not what you're thinking.
That's a lot of holes.
It's the space between a goalie's pads on their legs when they're spread out in the goal. So like if you're tending your goal and they move side to side
Like this?
They move side to side, and if their legs are open, that's the hole. Like you can.
Yes, you're right.
You create a hole.
You
when
create a hole.
Open your legs.
and they can bang it in.
See, this is why people write hockey romance, because it really just writes itself.
It really does. It
with
really
the
does.
terminology.
So the next one that's often used is when you talk about a player's flow. It's doesn't have anything to do with their skating. It's their hair, because a lot of them will like grow it out long, and especially if it's sticking out under their helmet and it's like flowing behind them when they skate. They call it their flow.
That's
I
kinda
call that a
cute.
mullet.
Some of them are, some of them are not. The next one is it's the slot. Now get your minds out of the gutter.
I mean, you've been on the
started
podcast before.
And now that I read my actual definition of it, it still sounds sexy. It's the prime scoring area in front of the goal. The next one is an odd man rush, and that's when the offensive team are entering the opposing team's defensive side of the ice and they outnumber the players. So like a 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1, that's called an odd man rush.
That does happen in this book.
It definitely does. The next one is a one-timer, and that's when a player receives the puck and immediately tries to score without settling the puck or passing. So it's like somebody passes them the puck and they immediately
They're going for the hole in one.
immediately whack it in the hole.
What does it mean to settle the puck?
So
I know what a pass is, but what does settling
so when you're
mean?
passing, it's really any sport. Like if you're passing to something, even like in football, when they like try to like get it situated in
so
their
it
arm,
counts
so it's
as
like
a catch or an interception or whatever.
right. So with
Okay.
this, they're settling it so it's not going to like jump over their stick, or it's not going to
Gotcha.
go off on a weird angle or whatever.
Okay.
They're treating it real kindly before they shove it in the hole.
Yes.
They're
They're
finessing.
They're getting it ready for the whole.
foreplay of the puck.
I know I started this before we started recording. But now
Whitney was saying a lot of nasty stuff
know.
before we started recording
Whitney,
tonight.
Yeah.
there's no proof.
Whitney.
There's some proof.
The next one is called the power play. And this is when a player gets sent to the penalty box, so his team has to play down one man. So it's usually like a 5-on-4, and then it's a lot harder to obviously defend your net if you're down one player. So defend your net.
This is all so sexual. We're too immature to talk about hockey
talk about
terms.
hockey?
Speak for yourself.
Good. Y'all should listen to me and Darren when we're trying to watch a game. I mean, it's like nonstop giggling.
I can only
We are
imagine
definitely
with
12-year-olds.
She's like, get your chicklets off my 5-hole.
Darren puts his chiclets on my 5-hole, we have a problem.
Sometimes chiclets on the hole are nice.
Not for me.
man.
Okay, so the next one, and this is one I hadn't heard of. It's called a yard sale, and it's when a player gets hit so hard that he loses all his equipment, like his stick and his gloves and his helmet. They all go flying in their
Damn,
left.
did they get hit that hard?
They do. They get hit pretty hard.
Golly.
It's a
kinda
rough
crazy.
game. It's a rough game. So I thought that was funny. It's called a yard sale. When they trash talk each other, it's called chirping, which I think is hilarious because it's like they're chirping in their ears. Okay, so there's just 3 more, and these were all new to me, and I think they're all pretty funny. So the first one's called the grocery stick, and that is the player that sits on the bench between the forwards and the defensemen for the entire game, like the divider that you use to separate orders on a grocery conveyor.
Oh, I was just trying to think, what is a grocery
So it's like
stick?
a bench
But I
player,
gotcha.
basically.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. Aw.
Oh, someone put the stick in front of between the meat and the onion. That wasn't nice.
I don't need anything
I
onion
can't wait to
related
see what
in
you
my
do with the next
innuendo.
one. I can't wait to see what you do with this one. So the next one's called a face wash.
Ew.
Oh,
No, thank you.
It's when a player rubs the palm of their glove in an opponent's
That
face
is not what I thought you were going to
just for the
say.
sole purpose of annoying them.
Not touching you. Not,
not
touching,
touching
you.
you.
And the
that's
last
funny.
one is called lip lettuce. And
Also, ew.
I know, it's a mustache.
Hey, man, you got some lip lettuce hanging on over there.
Gross.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Okay.
I
sound
hadn't heard of
nice.
that one.
So let's get into our conversation about the book itself. What was your favorite moment from these first set of chapters? This first set of chapters.
The chapters 1 through 40. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
those.
what I said.
Exactly. Well, I'll go first because there was a part I really, really loved, and it's when Rachel annihilates Aspen.
Oh, yeah.
I love that moment too.
I mean apple. I mean asphalt.
Yeah.
I mean asteroid. I mean avocado.
That made me laugh. Yeah.
I mean all these names she calls her, and none of them are mean. Right? Not a single one. But I can already tell that Doc Rachel is a very loyal person. So when Caleb's ex shows up, Doc goes into full lioness mode and
Yeah,
tries
she
to
does.
protect her pack, which I think is really cool. And Caleb has shown Rachel a lot of kindness, and she's not willing to let someone treat him poorly
Yeah.
or use him as a puck bunny to get close to the team.
Yeah. I thought
Yeah.
that was fun too.
I really, really love that scene.
She has a shirt in her, Emily Rath has a shirt in her store that says buy avocado.
I know what you're getting for Christmas.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
Mindy, what was your favorite moment?
Mine is when Rachel wears the outfit that she wore when she met Jake just to get him riled up. And then I love it when he says, and I know she knows exactly what she's doing to me. She's winding me up, waiting for me to explode. Well, tick, tick, boom, baby girl. I just like that.
I don't like baby girl.
See, I like it.
I don't
I know you
like
all
it.
don't like it, but I like it.
But it goes with the same thing. I don't like daddy either.
But then what I love even more about this
I like
whole
Daddy.
thing is that a page later he's fighting the urge to hold her purse and he realizes he's like totally whipped. Like he's such a little cute little golden
There's
retriever.
like, yes, like no question.
Yeah.
He's all about it. I like him a lot. My favorite moment is a collection of moments really at the end of this section when Rachel and Ilmari start to
Get it on.
well, not get it on, but just start to basically communicate,
Yeah,
right?
get
Like
connected.
they start to talk to each other because they don't really for a lot of chapters.
He doesn't talk to anybody.
Right. But when they start the whole thing with like, you're in my seat, you have to move. No, you can't sit next to me. Ugh, now you have to sit next to me. Like, no, you have to sit next to me. Like that whole thing, I really enjoyed that a
Well,
lot.
and as a competitive person, I truly understood what he
Yes.
was going for, and I like how the whole team is like,
Well, sorry,
yeah,
you got to sit there.
Right.
like,
yeah.
you did this to yourself.
No, like he's the goalie. So if he
Right.
says that, you got to do it. Yeah. I really enjoyed that a lot. And I really liked their dynamic together pretty much from the get-go, from their first interaction. So that was my favorite part, is when they started talking to each other.
Amari's
I thought it was
fun.
cute. I like.
He's fun.
I
like
didn't
him,
love the
Marty.
whole koala thing though that she does, because he's like, dude, leave me alone, and she's like, well, I'll just jump on your back.
Yeah, it wasn't a choice that I would have made.
No,
But-
me neither. But it
She
worked.
was, she was
I
coming
mean,
from a good place though.
It
you know?
worked.
I will say that does take me a little bit into my least favorite moment, and really, I hate to say this, it's just Rachel. as a person. So you find out that she's a spoiled, rotten, like rich girl that likes to get a little freaky, you know, to like go against dad or whatever. And I like I said, I don't really like her character, but I do enjoy reading about her character, if that makes sense. Like, it makes for a really good book, but as a person, I kind of want to punch her in the cooter.
Well, I actually did a little bit of a deep dive inspired by Rachel, not making any comment one way or the other.
About her cooter.
if I like enjoy her or not. But I was really intrigued by the idea of her having this famous dad that she was trying not really distance herself from her dad, but basically like be known for herself and not because of her famous father. It reminded me a lot of Wreck the Halls, which we have already read. You know, we did for December last month, which we all really, really loved. And it made me think about real life kids of celebrities, or even celebrity kids who have tried to distance themselves and make a name for themselves outside of celebrity status.
I heard that Doogie kid did that. He became a doctor.
Doogie Howser? I'm like...
It took you a second. You were like,
I'm like a little... almost too young for Doogie Howser, but I do know who it is.
Howser. Do, 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 do,
I do know the theme song. Yeah, I do know it. So first, I have some child actors who left acting to do something completely different. And I struggled with a way to describe this, and I ended up doing, quote, smart jobs, but I'm not trying to make a comment on their intelligence or not intelligence. It's just...
They left show business for a more traditional.
Yes.
Yeah,
more
you don't
traditional.
say like a real job, because that's not
right.
like that.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
I had a hard time with how do
Yeah.
I really say this, because that's not exactly what I mean, but I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. So first off, we have a couple of child actors that I was already familiar with. There was Danica McKellar, who played Winnie Cooper on The Wonder Years.
Yeah,
Did you guys watch The Wonder Years?
She was on an episode of How I Met Your Mother. Actually, a couple episodes.
Yes, she was. So she still acts, obviously, as an adult, but she left acting for a while to go to school. She is insanely intelligent and is a mathematician. And she has written some books that are geared toward getting kids, and especially girls, excited about math and science.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is really
I've
cool.
heard that before.
Yeah, she is very, very smart. And then in that kind of that same boat, there's Mayim Bialik.
I was
Blossom.
hoping you were going to bring her up. Blossom.
course.
I
Blossom.
learned all about my first period off Blossom.
On Blossom? Yeah.
With her little flip up sunflower hat she would wear all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted one
Thanks,
of those
Blossom.
hats. So Mayim Bialik is, just like Danica McKellar, insanely intelligent. She has a very high IQ. She is a literal neuroscientist. She has
a PhD, doesn't she?
Oh, yeah, maybe even more than one, honestly. She has advanced degrees in neuroscience. She now hosts Jeopardy, and she played a like astrophysicist or neuroscientist on The Big Bang Theory.
Right.
So she went back into acting, into the entertainment business. But she, for years went to school to get trained in this extremely difficult field, which not many people can do regardless of your background, right? So some other child actors I did not know this about have left the entertainment field to go on and get advanced degrees as well. Jack Gleason, who I didn't recognize by that name, but he was King Joffrey in Game of Thrones. I did know that.
The blonde kid, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He left acting, quit acting, I guess, at the age of 21, and he went to study philosophy at Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut.
Can you imagine? Because he was such a hated character.
I know.
I thought about that.
Walking into Philosophy 101 and being like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, freaking Joffrey over there. Yeah. Then there is former actor Charlie Corsmo, who, again, I did not know by name.
Heard that name.
I saw his picture. I was like, yes, he's the kid from Dick Tracy. The character, I'm pretty sure, was called The Kid with Warren Beatty, and he was Robin Williams' son in the movie Hook.
That's where I know him from.
Yes. So he left acting to get a degree in physics from MIT.
Damn.
Right? And worked at the Environmental Protection Agency. Through his work with the EPA, he worked with a House of Representatives committee or subcommittee, I guess, and decided to go get a law degree to help with his policy work.
Oh my gosh.
So he has a physics degree from MIT and a law degree to help with that policy work. So he has more than one advanced degree. So,
And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he ever went back into acting.
I don't think he did. Yeah, no, he just does that. I think he just does that policy work now. That was what I could find. So then we also have Danny Lloyd, who is the kid from The Shining.
Oh.
He is now a biology professor in Illinois.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool.
What do you think he dresses up as for Halloween?
I hope he
Does he
dresses up
walk
as
in,
Jack Nicholson from The Shining.
Well, no, I hope he comes in like on a little big wheel.
Yeah, the tricycle. Oh, man. And last but not least, in the child actors, we have Jeff Cohen, who was Chunk in The Goonies. He actually is a entertainment lawyer. So he went and got a law degree and works in entertainment law. So he's still in that field, sort of, but with the advanced degree, right? And I also did a super quick search on children of celebrities and just found a couple that I thought were really interesting. So actor Willem Dafoe, he has a son who is a Yale graduate and a public policy researcher.
Oh, wow.
So go young Dafoe. And then this other one that I found really sounds a lot like Rachel Price, right? So Roger Taylor is the drummer for Queen.
Okay.
Like legendary rock band
Right.
Queen, right? His daughter is a doctor in London. She's like a general family practitioner that practices in a hospital in like West London or something.
Cool.
And I thought a rock star dad and a doctor daughter. That sounds like
very similar.
Yeah, like that is Rachel Price, right?
I wonder if Emily Rath is a big fan of Queen.
I don't know. That's what I wrote. I have decided that that's true.
Well, she's going to be on in 2 episodes.
I know. I'll have to try to remember to
Yeah.
ask her because I thought that's too big of a coincidence. So yeah, I was really down a rabbit hole looking at these like child actors and celebrity kids with all the different types of jobs that they have gone on to do. So
It's
yay
definitely
for success.
more common than you would think.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, acting is not really a lifelong career for most people
Right.
in the entertainment business at all, right?
But I mean, there's a lot of discourse right now about nepotism and the
Nepo babies.
Yeah, the Nepo babies
Yeah.
and all that. And so it's nice to hear that that's not always the case.
I don't really understand why people have a problem with
I
that.
don't either.
Because, first of all, you can't help who you're born to.
Yeah.
Right.
And why would you not use the relationships you have to move
Yeah.
your career forward? I guess I just don't understand why it's such a big deal.
I think it's just kind of like a not knee-jerk reaction, I guess, but a backlash to the idea of like being super privileged.
But
That's,
it's
I mean,
no
I think that's
different
really
than
what it
somebody
is.
joining a fraternity or sorority and using those
The networking.
to further yourself
Right,
in
like
a career
if
as well.
your mom was in the sorority or whatever,
Yeah.
and that, yeah, I mean, I agree. It's all about contacts and relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and people that suck don't move forward. Like
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, I guess I just don't see. But this is also coming from someone who never has been and never will be famous. And I have 0 contacts and 0 wealth, so I'm like, yeah, I'd use the shit out of my contacts, but
Right.
you know, my contacts are you two.
We'll do what we can for you.
We've like done some book festivals. It was pretty fun.
that was all you.
Right? Yeah.
I'm your all's contact.
That's
yes,
true.
you are.
We're your Nepo babies, basically.
And I don't even mind.
Right? Mindy, what was your least favorite moment?
Mine is, and this surprised me because this is my 3rd reread of this book in 1 year.
You're
so
pulling a Whitney with this.
I pulled a major Whitney.
Rereading.
This is the 3rd time I've read it this year. And it was Jake's insecurity. I didn't realize like how needy he was, especially in these chapters. So especially right after the broom closet scene. I mean, I love a golden retriever.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. And I really, really do love Jake, but he's being a total whiny bitch. And it's annoying and it is not sexy in that moment. Like he makes assumptions that he's the odd man out and suddenly he's thinking of like moving his team that he's
Yeah.
on. I'm like, come on, dude, chill out.
He like
Don't be a baby.
spirals immediately.
Yeah,
Does her vagina have gold in it or something?
I think it has to.
At one point in the book, I think her friend says something about her gold-plated vagina.
Yeah, there's something magical
Yes.
about that.
It shits unicorns.
I cannot. Okay, please don't say vagina shits anymore. But then like she makes it worse. To your point, Deb, that Rachel's kind of annoying as well. She makes it worse by being all vague with her communication. And I
Yes.
just wanted them to go back to the hotel and fuck again. Like it was a total lady boner killer.
Me too. I'm like, you're going to go have fucking coffee right
Like,
now?
really?
Yeah, that was a little weird.
I want to hear more about Caleb's peen.
Me too.
Well, so Caleb actually is part of my least favorite moment, but not because of him, because of Rachel. So I think we all,
Oh, okay.
you know,
Tell us
Deb,
about
I
it.
guess you and I have something in common there. I really did not enjoy reading the scene where Caleb is getting on one of the hockey players in practice, and she's like, well, gosh, I mean, if it's so easy, why don't you do it?
Yeah.
And it was, she didn't realize
And
his
she's
history.
like been there for like a week,
right?
too.
She doesn't know
And
his
admittedly
history of being
doesn't
hurt and
know
stuff.
hockey either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I have been in that really horrifying situation of like, I think I'm being cute.
Where you were fucking a bunch of hockey guys,
Exactly.
and talked back to one.
Right. This is based on true events of Whitney's life, right? No, like you're trying to be cutesy or you're trying to look cool or whatever it is, and you say something that you really don't know what you're talking
I feel
about.
like that's my whole personality,
right? And like the horror and embarrassment. I have been the one being embarrassed because I said something stupid that I shouldn't have said, right? And just that secondhand embarrassment for her was it was tough. It was a tough moment. I did not like it.
I know we talk about mental health a lot on this podcast. So like from like May to October, I had tried to go off some of my anti-anxiety meds, and I did not realize how much those medications were helping me shut the fuck up. I lost even more filter than I currently do not have. Like, could not keep my mouth shut, could not keep my emotions in check. And finally, whenever I was like, oh my God, I'm the problem. It's me. It's me.
It's me.
Yeah.
Hi.
So yeah, that Rachel is me on not medication.
She
just needs some Cymbalta.
Yeah, they all kind of need to go to therapy, right?
Well, they definitely
For
don't need to
different
get
things.
fucked because they've already done that.
Although you and I were like, fuck again.
I know. I'm all for it. Yeah.
Like, you're at a nice hotel and she's wearing a jumpsuit. Come on, let's go for it.
Get it.
Yeah. So what about biggest revelations?
Okay, so did you guys know there were octopus dildos?
No.
Right.
Think about who you're asking here with me.
Okay, so I didn't know there were octopus dildos. I'm wondering, like, I just assume they would always be gag gifts. Obviously, they're not. What makes them interesting? Does each tentacle have suction? Does it curve? Do they have to be purple? I'm super intrigued by this. So that was my revelation. I need to know I need a drawing of what this dildo looks like.
I've never seen an octopus one, but I do know there are many other oddities out there.
Well, sure, but I'm really interested
But she wants to know specifically about
I
the
want to know
octopus.
about like the suction thing. Are they like ribbed for her pleasure?
I don't know. Good question.
That's what I want to.
I kind of assumed it was just like a curvy shape, like a tentacle.
You don't want it like an S though. That would hurt.
Well, I mean, not necessarily an S, but I kind of thought that it was just the sort of shape of a tentacle, but not literally like looks like an octopus.
See, I imagine
you know
it
what
like
I
a
mean?
tentacle with
I
the suction
did,
cups
because
on.
Oh.
he knows it's an octopus.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
True.
And I mean, those little suction things are.
I guess, yeah.
I'm hoping they're nubbies for her nubby.
Well, and apparently it's massive as well. Like,
That is true. It's discussed a little bit later about like the girth
Okay,
of the dildo.
I've not gone that far yet, but yeah, that was
does
my
get
biggest
used.
revelation because, like, you
you're
know,
like, wait, what?
I'm very. You guys know I'm a very sex positive person. I don't have any problems with toys, but I did not know that octopus dildos existed.
Well, I certainly didn't.
It comes on the back of all the tentacle porn that's being written right now.
Right. Well, I'd rather,
The monster romance.
Monster dicks.
I mean, with that, at least I know what I'm reading.
Right.
that
I
is
know what
true.
I've gotten
That is
myself
true.
into.
Emily Rath, I'm going to need a drawing from your illustration, please.
Well, my biggest revelation is kind of silly, but also just like hockey related because I've seen some hockey videos come up on my For You page on TikTok, I guess because we talk about it with you, Mindy.
Probably. You
But-
send me those all the
Yeah,
time.
well,
Everyone's listening always.
Sure. So I have seen videos of players like warming up and like looking like they're humping the ice. And so the end of this section when it talks about Ilmari doing that and like what it's for, that was my biggest revelation.
for,
I'm like,
like, oh, that's why
For,
they do
like, your
that.
hip flexors.
it's for your it's to open up your hips and like warm up those muscles.
So if you guys don't know, Whitney is my bar instructor, so we need to start doing those in bar. My hip flexors always hurt.
We'll just hit the floor with a fist, be like,
Right.
yes, I can't wait for the
Backstreet's
boss.
back. All right.
The boss's feedback on that.
It does make it decidedly less sexual when you know exactly why
Yeah.
they're doing it, which is good.
I mean, it
because-
still looks goofy,
Yeah.
but I understand it
Well, yeah,
better,
they take
right?
care of their bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For you.
What about you, Mindy?
So mine was going back to the first time I read this, like Caleb's dick piercing.
I have a lot to say about that later.
I know, and I'm so excited.
The biggest revelation.
Well,
just that he has one?
Well,
or?
the kind that he has.
Oh,
and
gotcha.
and I'm going to let Deb describe that. But I actually, when I first read this, I had to go do a little research. But I also, it was a little bit of a revelation to me when I first read this also that he secretly pines after Jake. And it's not super, super obvious, but it is at the same time.
I was going to say, it's not super, super secret.
Yeah, exactly.
Do he and Jake hook up in this book?
Do you want me to tell you?
Yes, I do.
Just keep reading.
Just keep reading. God, I love an MM romance.
Yeah. You will not be
keep
disappointed. Let's put it that way.
If looks could kill, Whitney would be dead.
I'd be dead.
She definitely would. There were daggers coming out.
Well, speaking of hookups, let's talk about our favorite spicy scene.
What was yours, Whitney?
Mine was the FaceTime with Jake. I really enjoyed that scene a lot. When I was reading the description of her taking the picture of herself, I was like trying to do it. I was trying to figure out like what did she actually take a picture of? But yeah, I was really confused about it. But anyway, I really enjoyed that scene, and that's all I have to say.
I think Jake's adorable in that scene.
He is. Yeah. It made me laugh a lot where he's like, I'm next to Caleb. Like, give me a heads up if you're going to send me boobies. I need some warning.
Caleb's like, Jake came out of the bathroom looking like he had just been caught.
But there was nobody in there.
Yeah, he was definitely by himself, but if I didn't know any better.
That's got that post-o glow.
I really enjoyed that scene.
What was yours, Deb?
Mine was the kissing scene in the stairwell. Not only has Rachel gotten Caleb all riled up in front of his ex, but Jake gets a little territorial and fed up with acting like he doesn't want her, right? Yeah. So he literally only gets 4 steps out of the VIP section and can't wait to kiss her, which I find very, very sexy. And poor Caleb thinks he's going to get left out, but Rachel just scoops him right into the mix. And I love how Emily Rath, the author, explains how the kisses make Rachel feel. I feel like this is very well written. And because if someone can make you weak in the knees with a kiss, you know they probably can make you weak everywhere else too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a really, really good scene. What about you,
I
Mindy?
loved that one too. But mine is definitely the broom closet at the club. Definitely, no doubt about it. Caleb's piercing, his voyeuristic tendencies, the whole taboo of it all being in the club and like possibly getting caught. The whole teasing between Caleb and Rachel, like when he says, stop talking and do it. And she's all, you want me to stop talking? Put my mouth to work. And he answers, don't mouth off and you'll get exactly what you want. I mean, I really think my panties melted off when I was just reading that. I don't know. It just did something for me. It just did.
That's funny.
But what I started thinking about with that is like, because they talk about later, like, this could be a PR nightmare. And like, I think about poor Poppy St. James and how she's going to have to spin this shit, right? What would she do to smooth that out? And it got me thinking about some notorious actual hockey players that are like PR nightmares. Penis. I almost said penis.
Penis nightmares.
Maybe they're both.
Some of them have that involved. But that they would just totally put Poppy to the test, right? So, and these are all, I think they're all current players. I'm pretty sure they all are. So this one is this guy. If you're in the hockey world at all, you'll know his name. His name's Alexander Ovechkin. He's a Russian player for the Washington Capitals. And there are many players in the NHL who do not come from either the U.S. or the Canada.
Or the Canada.
The Canada.
I was wondering about that because Ilmari's from Russia, and I was wondering Finland. I'm sorry, thank you. Okay. But I was like, but he isn't a U.S. player, so I didn't know that was a thing. Because if you like play football, you have to like reside in the U.S., right? Or are there football players that aren't?
Well, I know there's basketball players that play in China.
They're not as common in football because football's not as common overseas as it is in America.
That's true. Okay.
But no, I think that teams, if you go through the process of trying out or being recruited or whatever those processes are, I don't think it matters.
So hockey is not something that's just U.S. and Canada. It's worldwide.
Yeah, they actually have leagues in other countries. So there is a Finnish league. There's a Russian league. They do have leagues. They're just not as big.
I think American football is kind of the only one that
doesn't like cross recruit.
That's kind of like more America specific, and
again,
other sports are worldwide.
Sports,
and truly, there's not a ton of American players. Most of them are Canadian. Like it's just it's much more Canadian.
Well, what
sport.
the fuck else are they going to do up there? It's so cold. All the time. They're like, well, it iced again. Let's go out.
So anyway, so getting back, he's a top player. He's considered by some to be the like Wayne Gretzky of today's game, which is a name that most people would know.
I know that. I even know that one.
So, but he is from Russia, and across many sports, this actually was a sensitive subject when Russia invaded the Ukraine. And Ovechkin he's never hidden his support for Putin. So he is a Putin supporter. He took part in several propaganda campaigns supporting the Russian president, including starting his own group called the Putin Team, aimed at Russian young people.
That sounds like shit.
I know.
Literally.
Aimed at Russian young people. And he's quoted as saying, "Let's not be embarrassed to be perceived as unhip. I am for Putin and I am not hiding it. Putin Team."
Okay, but when you say I'm for Putin, it sounds like
Putin,
it sounds like farting.
I'm for Putin.
Well, I'm sure he says it with more like a Russian.
It sounds more
probably
clear
cooler in
what he's
Russian.
talking
Yeah.
about.
But also, like, I
know.
I have a lot of problems with this.
It's difficult. And so when he was actually asked by NHL officials to take down a picture of himself with Putin that he had on his social media just because it was causing issues, he claimed that it would be seen as an act of dismissal of Putin and that his family would be in danger of retaliation, which really actually isn't that hard to believe.
I was going to say, I bet that's accurate.
But even taking political views out of the equation, I can't imagine the job that somebody had to navigate this situation from a PR perspective. Like, it's not
to protect
these
the
players'
team.
fault that they're from a country that is at odds with us. So
right.
I just there's so many layers there.
I'm interested in, as someone from there, what he sees in terms of propaganda that makes him side with Putin.
Yeah, and he's very close-lipped about it. Like he's very open about his support, but he's not going to go out there and say this is why and this is what
Right. Well, if you're going to do that, you should be able to back it up.
True.
But
Truth.
Well, Putin's also a leader that is not out of the realm of like blackmailing.
Public assassination.
Yeah, blackmailing people into supporting him.
Yeah.
So it's definitely
don't kill us, please.
right. Exactly.
Definitely a delicate situation and a total PR nightmare.
Yeah, I don't envy that PR
No, I do not.
person's job.
So the next one is a man named Evander Kane, and he just, poor guy, can't seem to get away from controversy, but it's really mostly his fault. It just seems to follow him around. Some of them are just dumb stuff, like he skipped a practice to go to an NBA All-Star game. But some of them are a lot more serious. Like he's had several lawsuits against him alleging both physical and sexual assault. A Vegas casino filed a lawsuit against him for a $500,000 unpaid gambling debt.
Yikes.
And in addition, his ex-wife claimed that he bet on his own games.
Ooh.
Yikes. So these troubles led him to filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And then there was the time during the pandemic when players had to present a vaccine card to play, and he submitted a fake one. He just, everywhere he goes, and he's been traded to many, many teams, and he just
I bet.
causes issues everywhere he goes. So,
come on, man.
I know. The next one hits a little close to home. It's the goalie for the Blues. His name's Jordan Binnington, and he just throws temper tantrums. Particularly last year, but I'm just particularly embarrassed by him. He presents himself as really cocky, but he notoriously acts like a toddler, particularly when he's having bad games, when he's letting too many pucks in, right? So once he got pulled from the game,
guard your 5-hole, douchebag.
I know he was not guarding his 5-hole.
Guard the slot.
And he got pulled because he wasn't having a very good game. And while he was skating off the ice, he basically pretended like he was going to fake punch another. Like he was like, ooh, going at him.
Why you wanna?
Well, okay, so you're gonna have to look up pictures of this guy because he's also he's not an Elmari. He's
What's his name?
Jordan Binnington. He is skinny. Like when he's not in his pads and stuff, he's not like this. Like
I always feel a lot skinnier without my pad on too.
But he's not to me. He's not. If you just look at him, he's not like a scary dude or anything.
Oh my. Chris Martin from Coldplay.
Yeah. He's not.
So he's overcompensating, is what you're saying.
For sure.
Okay, so what happened when he tried to fake punch the guy?
So he fake punched, and then he pushed their goalie down, and then he just got ejected from the game. But then there was another time he actually got injured by an opposing player, and the team lost. And so during that player's after game interview, so the guy. the opponent is doing his interview, right? And then the next thing you know, he's like, did he just throw something at me? And yes, Bennington childishly threw an empty water bottle at him while he was on camera giving an interview. He has punched a player with his blocker, the big block on his arm that's used to deflect pucks. He's punched him with that. And he's also intentionally clotheslined a player behind the net.
Oh, no.
Single are you there, Jordan?
Actually, he just got married.
Oh, that'll last.
But not a good look, right?
Right. No.
And finally, this one, he's just notorious. And actually, we'll have to get Emily Rath to tell the story about this because this is a name that she used in one of her books and then got a little flack for it and had to change it. But this guy's name is Brad Marchand, okay? A lot of people call him the Rat. He looks like a rat. He is just that guy that's like a gnat that just bothers you constantly. He's probably the most hated player by other teams currently. And besides being a complete pest on the ice by chirping relentlessly to opponents to get under their skin, he has done some really questionable things, like getting in opponent's face and licking them.
Ew.
He's done that more than once.
Gross.
He deliberately punched a goalie in the head. And he does this thing called slew footing often, which is intentionally sweeping another player's leg, basically, so that they fall, which can be very dangerous.
Yeah, that's douchey.
He's also speared another player. Can you imagine what that is?
Is it with your penis?
It's when you take the stick up between the legs for a, quote, cup check.
Oh, no.
That's not kind.
No. And once he repeatedly started punching another player, and when asked why, he said, because I felt like it.
Ew.
Yeah.
What a douche.
He's a total douche. He has also been quoted as saying, I've always felt like you have to be willing to do anything, literally anything, in order to win, even if that means being hated, even if it means carrying around some baggage. If I played the game any other way, you absolutely would not know my name. And he's probably right.
I mean, what a sad way to live, though.
I know.
Single are you?
But that one I don't know, to be honest with you. What's interesting about this one, though, is from a PR standpoint, it's constantly being put out there that he does all this charity work. And just like he's apparently off the ice, he's a very giving person. And he's
yeah, because his PR team tells me he has to be.
Right.
Exactly.
You're like,
This is your only redeeming quality.
I like that.
You got to go sort some canned goods or something. Shit, dude.
Poppy's going to go make him kiss some babies and play with puppies.
Yeah. Okay, well, you told us all the people that we should hate, so now I want to hear your chapter MVP. Let's bring it back up.
Who can we root for?
Well, my chapter MVP isn't even a player. It's Caleb. I don't really have a reason. He's just my favorite in these chapters. And I think it's maybe because he's the only one not being a total drama queen about everything. So, Jake is real whiny. Rachel's wishy-washy. Amari's cold. I mean, Caleb's broody, but I mean, I can tolerate broody. And also tattoos and pierced dick.
So, speaking of a pierced dick, Caleb's piercing is my chapter MVP.
Yes! I love that.
So, the sex scene in the closet is already somewhat shocking, but adding piercings to the mix, especially with Caleb, got me wondering what types of piercings are available for the nether regions for both the gals and the guys.
I'm so excited for this.
I'm concerned.
Well, I don't think you're going to be less concerned when I'm done with this.
Awesome.
Okay. First of all, did you know there are 8 types of genital piercings for a woman?
For a woman
8.
alone?
A woman.
Wow.
Just a woman. Okay, so Whitney's face.
I'm just going to watch Whitney's face this whole time.
I feel like I'm also about to teach some sex ed to anyone that's listening. So if you have questions, I don't know if we can post pictures of this on Instagram.
I'm going to say probably
but we can, but message us and I'll send you the picture I used to find this out. But if you're thinking in terms of sex ed, listen up. I'm going to start from the top down.
Oh my gosh.
Okay?
All right.
So, number 1. First, we have the Christina. Oh. This is a surface piercing right above the clitoral hood. Men, if you don't know where that is, just ask. It's where the vulva and the labia meet. And this piercing is really just for adornment and does not change a person's satisfaction level in any way. Because what I figured out researching this is a lot of these piercings are for extra stimulation in the bedroom, right?
But not this one.
Not that one. This one
just looks pretty.
This one just looks pretty. Right. It's like a belly button piercing for the top of your vajayjay.
Okay.
Yeah. Next, we have the vertical hood or the horizontal hood piercing, which is what I think of when I hear someone say.
You're going to say what I have.
This is is what I think of when I hear a woman say that she has a piercing. So this is the piercing that goes through the clitoris vertically or horizontally. This enhances clitoral stimulation through direct contact, which we know is a very, very good thing.
Yes.
Right? So
It just sounds painful.
I was going to say it's making me hurt.
the third type of genital piercing for a woman is called the triangle. And this is said to actually be the most painful piercing that you can get because it does go through a lot of tissue. So the piercing lays horizontally under/behind the clit where it meets the inner labia. So this piercing if this piercing's done correctly and your anatomy is suited for it, it's said to provide optimal sensation for a woman. But your body,
but at a cost.
At a cost. Okay, so we're only down past the clit just for sex ed reasons, okay? Continuing to work our way down. So there is a piercing called the Princess Albertina. And this one actually sounds way more painful to me than the triangle I just referenced because it enters through the urethra. And that's the pee-pee hole, my friend. That's where we go pee-pee. And it exits through the vaginal opening.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so if done correctly, it sits very neatly between the woman's labia, which are her lips, okay? The sexual benefit of this piercing is that it helps with urethral stimulation, which, quite frankly, I don't know anything about, but apparently it's a thing.
Okay.
I mean, like it makes you want to pee?
No, apparently urethral stimulation is supposed to be very nice sexually.
Okay.
I feel like
I get a lot of UTIs. I cannot have something stimulating my urethra.
I just don't trust anybody that much because you keep saying correctly done, right? I don't trust anybody that much with my delicate bits.
I know. I'd be like,
I don't want Bubba down at Tattoo Charlie's.
how many urethras have you pierced in your lifetime? If it's less than 400, I'm a no.
I'm out.
Right?
Yeah.
But then I'm like, what kind of person wants to look at 400 urethras?
Right. Yeah.
As a job.
Right. So, okay. So we're about halfway down through the woman's genital area, right? We got to the pee-pee hole. All right.
Is that the technical term?
Yes. Pee-pee hole. So I still have 3 options for the ladies, and I learned so much while researching this. So the outer labia piercing, which pierces the thicker outside, like quote unquote lips of a woman's genitals, is the most common genital piercing for a woman, and for some women helped them reach their first orgasm.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, good for them, right?
Yeah, congrats.
Our number 6 option is to pierce the inner labia, which are the inner lips, which is, you guessed it, it's the inner folds of the woman's hoo-ha.
She just said folds.
I didn't say slick folds.
Slick folds.
This piercing tends to be more decorative than stimulating. It just looks pretty, right? And last but not least, we have the fourchette piercing. Whitney, I can't wait to see your face. This is a piercing of the perineum. That's right, ladies.
No.
The taint.
No.
Not everyone is suited for this piercing anatomically because there has to be enough pinchable skin there to pierce.
Oh my gosh.
This piercing is said to create extremely unique and pleasurable sensations during intercourse.
Okay, hold on.
But you have to have enough pinchable taint.
So you gotta find a piercer. That's not the right word, but you have to find somebody who can and will do this.
Sure.
And then they have to pinch your taint.
You have to pinch between your vaginal hole and your butthole to see if you have enough skin there to pierce.
Well, and then I feel like that's just setting everybody up for disappointment.
Just for
right?
the record,
Sorry.
when women...
Your taint isn't
You're
pinchable
saying
enough.
you're not pinchable.
when women rip through in childbirth, this is what rips.
Oh my gosh.
Right? So,
So
it's
don't
not
puncture
made.
it.
It's not really made to stretch.
For puncturing.
Right.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. Do you guys know why it's called the taint?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Taint the hole.
It taint your vagina, it taint your asshole.
All right, that was better than I thought it was going to
Thank
be.
you, Mindy. I'm glad that Mindy knew. Okay, so my vajayjay hurts.
Yes.
So we're gonna move on.
Absolutely. I am a little turned on, though.
She's like, pinch
Not about
my
the butthole
taint.
part, not the taint part.
Pinch my taint.
I'm here for the perineum.
Show me your dick and
I
pinch
kind
my
of want to
taint.
bedazzle my vajayjay, though.
So you want to, if you just want to bedazzle.
Listen, go
want
to
the top
Target.
one.
Go to Target and get the little stickers out of the arts and crafts section.
The little nail stickers we have,
Yes.
the little, like,
Go
the little
get that.
pink, the pink diamond.
And just call it a day.
Mindy, what's on your zipper?
I beg of you, just use the little stickers. Gosh.
Just trim first, because when those come off with your hair,
We've just lost all our listeners.
No way.
and gained some. Okay.
Yes.
So, Mindy, for the record, if you would just like to be pretty down there, you want to get the Christina. That's the surface one right above the hood of your
Yes.
clit.
Okay.
Or you want to get
hood decoration.
The what is it called?
Hood ornament.
It's you want to pierce the inner labia. That's one of the inner folds that
I think
also is just very decorative.
I think I'll go with the Christina if I'm
Yeah.
going to do it.
You're going to go by yourself.
What, Whitney? You don't want to go with me?
I'll go.
I know you will.
I'd be like,
We'll let you guys do that.
I'm like, the tattoo artist will be like, well, why are all these nail stickers down here? They'll be like, she's like,
trying something
I
out.
want to see how it would look first.
I'm going to do a test drive before I buy the car.
It's like those fake tattoos you can buy to see if you like the placement. Like,
Yeah.
you're just trying to make sure it worked, right?
It's only responsible.
It is.
All right. So there are 13
Oh my
genital
gosh.
piercing options for the dudes.
That's too many.
I never.
I mean, their genitals are typically longer.
Ours are a little bit more complicated, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I never knew that guys wanted their wang to be so decorative.
Are they mostly decorative or are they mostly...
No, they're mostly for stimulation. Okay, so all of these piercings are supposed to help increase sensitivity and pleasure for a guy. But there are 4 in particular that are supposed to make their partner say, oh. And I want to say that a lot of these piercings sound like furniture from IKEA. You're going to see. So bear with me as I try to pronounce these, and I'm really sorry if I'm butchering anyone's language, okay? Number 1, think IKEA furniture. The ampelang. So this is a piercing that goes horizontally through the head of the penis. Okay?
Okay.
Next, we have the Apadavraya, which I just keep thinking Avada Kedavra every time I say it. And this also goes through the head of the penis, but vertically, aka up and down.
Okay.
Right?
On either side?
Up and down through the head, or the first one, the ampelag, goes
into the head?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And the ampelag, the first one, goes horizontally through the head of the penis.
Gotcha.
Okay. Number 3 is called the frenum piercing, which is a piercing right below the head of the penis horizontally, or in many horizontal rows down the shaft. This is also called the Jacob's ladder, and one of the piercings that I believe our good friend Caleb has in the book.
I do believe so.
Yeah, he has a Jacob's ladder. Number 4 in the piercings that do great things for your partner is the magic cross. This is a double piercing through the head that creates a cross with 2 barbells. So it provides 4 areas of sensation along the head of the penis for the person's partner. And that really does not sound too bad to me.
It doesn't, but all I'm picturing is like a jack on somebody's dick. Like some dude's going to tie a jack around his head.
So those are the 4 that are good for both of them. There's 9 others, so let's just touch on these really quickly. Number 1, the deep shaft, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a piercing that goes through the deep part of the shaft of the penis. Number 2, the king's crown is a piercing also under the head of the penis, but it goes up and down instead of side to side like the beginning of a Jacob's ladder would. Number 3 is the foreskin piercing, which I believe speaks for itself. Number 4, the guys can also get their taint pierced, but it's called a guiche. Think quiche with a G.
Oh, my.
And I'm not sure I'll ever be eating quiche again after this. Nope. Number 5 also speaks for itself, which is a scrotal piercing. Number 6.
So painful.
Yeah, it does.
Right?
Number 6 is called the lorum, where the underside of the penis is pierced at the base where it meets the scrotum. Number 7, this is the one that you hear in popular culture, which is the Prince Albert. Mm-hmm. This is the one for dudes that goes, again, but through the pee-pee hole. I did not know this. I did not know that's what the Prince Albert was. It goes through the urethra and out the bottom of the head of the cock. Okay.
It sounds awful.
Yeah. Number 8 is the pubic piercing, which is the decorative one, just like the Christina for the ladies. It goes just above the base of the penis.
Is it called the Christopher?
It should be.
It should be, but it's not. It's called the pubic piercing. And finally, we have the reverse Prince Albert, because apparently we don't have enough piercings going through urethras. So the Prince Prince Albert goes through the urethra and comes out the bottom of the head of the cock, but the reverse Prince Albert comes out of the top of the penis instead of so it still goes through the pee hole, and then the hoop of it comes out through to the top of the
so
penis.
It like
instead.
wraps around basically.
Yeah. So there you have it, friends. 8 options for the ladies and 13 options for the guys.
That's too many.
And as someone who is pierced, I have my face pierced, I have my ears pierced. I don't know if you guys know this. I think Mindy does. I had my nipples pierced in college. I can say that 0 of these options are probably for me. But if I was single, I probably wouldn't say no to a partner with that magic cross thing.
Yeah, I don't know
the jack.
The jack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know that I'd say no to a Jacob's,
Jacob's
ladder
ladder
either.
I don't think I would either.
I don't know.
It sounds nice.
I would say I'm afraid and I would run.
That's okay. They can run right to us.
I cannot wait till you all get to the second section that we're reading.
Girl, I've already been there.
I have not.
Let's just say that somebody checks out Caleb's Jacob's ladder and it's hysterical.
Okay, so we have 22 options for genital piercings between
Again,
the
that
ladies
is
and the men.
too many.
So
and
again-
too many with their urethra. That's not
don't
okay.
put it through
Don't
my
mess with
pee-pee
my pee-pee
hole.
hole.
Yeah,
It just doesn't-
seriously
Like
though.
UTIs and stuff, that feels
Yeah.
That makes me
not
want to pee
safe.
right now. Like,
But I
literally
don't.
thinking about it.
And again, we're a sex positive podcast, so if you do want to message me without being fucking disgusting and tell me what urethral stimulation is,
Yeah.
I that's fine. Just tell us, or if you need to know like the diagram that I looked at whenever I was writing these down, I can send you that
I'm
too.
certainly
They could also
curious.
Google it.
Yeah, just do that. Do that
They
shit in
could.
an incognito
But-
tab.
Yeah, we can't. I did actually open incognito tab
Yeah,
because
I
I did
would
not
too.
want this to be like my regular in my like cookies, right?
Your algorithm.
But, right? And but the thing is like it's very like professionally done.
Oh,
Like they
yeah.
actually look really nice, and like I understand why people do it, especially if they have trouble with just stimulation as a
Yeah.
whole. A lot
Yeah.
of these are really supposed to be helpful for people that maybe just need a little
That
extra
struggle with
extra.
that.
Yeah.
yeah. So again, sex positive. You're allowed to ask us questions. I don't mind, but Instagram is not.
We
gonna
don't
let me-
guarantee that we'll know the
Right,
answers.
but Instagram is not going to let me post the pictures of
No,
these diagrams.
please,
so.
please don't try.
Yeah, we're not going to. We don't want to get shadow banned.
So that was both of your all's chapter MVPs.
Yeah, so who's yours with?
So mine
Is it about someone's dick piercing?
No, it isn't. Shockingly, it is not. No, my chapter MVP was Ilmari because I just really liked him. I really like Jake, but I like Ilmari more in these chapters.
Do you know
which
why
is
you liked him though? I bet you I can pin it on the head.
Ilmari?
Yeah, it's because like they're all at the bar and they're like, "Come sit with us," and he's like, "Bro, I'm reading a book."
I'm just trying to read my book.
No, I didn't dislike him because he didn't. I was like, I get that. I would sit by
I'm
myself.
saying that's why you like
well,
him.
no, but that's not really it. I don't really have a specific thing about him that I like. It's just his overall vibe I enjoy the most out of our 3 like love interest guys. And I don't really know why, but maybe it's because he's like a ginormous.
He's got a quiet strength
He's a
about
daddy,
him.
a zaddy
He is
daddy,
kind of a zaddy.
and I'm into that.
And he's the one that I changed too because I didn't love him on my first read, and I like him so much more on this one. But he is also, it's also because I've read Pucking Wild, and he's featured fairly prominently in that one as well. And you get to know his personality a little bit more, and it makes me understand him a little bit more in this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally see how you could fall in love with Ilmari. He's
Well-
just got that quiet strength, and he is who he is, and he doesn't make apologies for it.
Well, and he's like really socially awkward, and I enjoy the inner monologue of what he's actually thinking when other people think he's being socially awkward.
Yeah.
But I don't know, something about him and his interactions with Rachel felt more realistic to me somehow, and I don't really have a reason for that.
No,
It
I
just
can see
it
that.
just does.
Well, because they started out as more of a professional relationship.
Yeah, maybe that's
it
what
didn't
it
like
is.
immediately go that other place.
Yeah. Who is your favorite secondary character?
Mine might be, I don't know if it'd be surprising. This person's not really in this book that much, but because I've read Pucking Wild, I noticed him more in this. And my favorite secondary character is Ryan Langley.
Mine too.
He was in the running. I ultimately picked somebody else.
Just a sweet little naive rookie. Like, if Jake's the golden retriever, Ryan Langley's the golden retriever puppy. And he's just, the scene where all his teammates tell him to get fully naked for his physical
That
just
was
is
so funny.
priceless. I was cracking up. I have a soft spot for this one because, again, so Pucking Wild is the second book in this, and he is the main male character in that one. Oh. So I got to know him a little better, and he's just so fun.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that prank scene
I said all the same things though, and this was a scene where I really did respect Dr. Rachel because he's full frontal in front of her. She doesn't tease him. Yeah. She's just like, bro, I'm a knee doctor. And steps outside. Yeah. And as soon as she steps outside, she's like, which one of us are you hazing? And they're like, both of you. Yeah. And so I really loved him in this too, because he's very sweet and he's like, fuck. Okay.
Yeah. I really liked that a lot. No, he was in the running for me, but ultimately I actually picked Caleb's dog, Poseidon.
Oh, I love Poseidon too.
I love how Sai is just kind of randomly everywhere all the time, and everybody loves the dog, and it's kind of, the dog kind of serves as a kind of random connector between these different characters, and I just really enjoyed that.
He's so cute.
Yeah, he is.
I will
really
say
cute.
because I always read before bed, so sometimes I get like a little daisy, and I'm like, who's Sai?
Yeah.
Where'd this guy come from?
I kept having to be like, oh wait, that's the dog. Okay.
I don't remember this love interest. Yeah, I just really enjoyed the random look, here's a cute dog and somebody's gonna love on him. I thought that was really very realistic.
It was funny too in that very first scene when she meets Caleb and she's like, oh my god, you're so cute. Yeah. And he's like, wait, what?
It's like, I'm not talking to the dog. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to your dog.
To my octopus dildo and the dog.
Right. So what about favorite quotes?
I have one, and I honestly don't even remember. I think it was whenever Rachel kind of starts to realize that she's attracted to Caleb, and she says, just slather me with butter and jam because I am so fucking toast.
Yeah.
It just sounds like something I would say.
Yeah, I liked that a lot too.
There are a lot of great one-liners, and I think that's one of the things I really love about this book is it doesn't take itself too seriously.
Right.
Especially with all the everything going on,
which is interesting because I find Emily Rath, the author, who is going to be on in a couple weeks, she's actually a pretty serious, very intellectual person, and so I feel like this is like this side of her where she's like thinking it but doesn't say it out loud.
Yeah.
Right. She's the Whitney.
She's hilarious. Yeah. She really is. She's so funny. So I mean, it's not going to be a shocker that I have 4 short quotes. They're very short, but I couldn't pick. So the first one,
neither could Rachel.
Truth. Why choose? So the first one is from Rachel, and I just love it when she says, "I don't melt for you, Jake Compton. I burn."
There is something
sexy.
Ever since Bridgerton about saying "I burn."
I know.
Where you're like, okay, I know what you mean.
Yeah, my loins are burning now.
Not my loins, but okay.
I mean,
you just killed my lady.
And then the second one is when Jake said, "My name on her lips is stronger than a shot from Cupid's bow straight to my dick."
Well, I mean, Caleb has his ear pierced. Why
right?
not Jake?
I mean,
go for it, buddy.
That'd be an interesting name for a piercing, a Cupid's bow. I don't think there's any left, though, to name that. So there we go. So
had to be on Jackass. They pierced a guy's butt cheeks together one time. Do you guys not remember that from like the early 2000s?
I just remember that being a storyline in The Breakfast Club.
Oh, really?
That's why the athlete is in there.
They like super glued or duct taped somebody's butt cheeks together.
Larry's somebody.
That's why one of them is in detention.
That's really kind of awful.
It is.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I loved when Tess is talking to, and by the way, Tess is hysterical.
Tess is in which book?
Tess is in Pucking Wild. She's the main female character.
With Langley?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's fun. It's super fun. But she's hilarious. And when she's talking about Rachel sending a tit pic to Jake, right? And Rachel says something about, "Are you going to send yours or something?" She goes, "What? To Magic Boy? Honey, the majesty of my titties would end his sweet little life."
That was one of mine too.
That's the difference between me sending a tit pic and Whitney sending a tit pic.
I love her sense of humor. She's hysterical. Yeah.
We all have our strengths. You could lift the Empire State Building. I can't even lift my arms.
Shout out to Robbie.
Shout out to Whitney.
Oh my goodness. And finally, this is another one from Rachel when she says, not gonna lie, it did unholy things to my lady parts to watch Jake Compton on the ice.
Yeah, I like that one.
I like that too.
Yeah, I just hockey players. Yeah, I
You guys
know.
can't tell this was Mindy's pick.
Yeah, right. Well, Mindy, I also had 4 quotes.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
3 of them are funny, and then one of them I thought was swoony. But one of them was the one that you said about Tess and the majesty of her titties. That made me laugh a lot.
I don't know why I find titties to be such a funny word.
I do
Because it's
too.
I don't find
Yeah.
it offensive at all. I think tits is kind of offensive.
Yeah.
But I think titties are just funny.
I agree with you. I don't know why though. Yeah. I really enjoyed that quote. And then when Jake realizes that the new team doctor is his Seattle girl, he says to himself, "Why aren't we kissing? Why are our clothes on?" And I thought that was really funny. And that
Have
made
you
me
ever been
laugh.
like that with your spouse too? You're like, why are your pants?
Yeah, like what are we doing right now?
Right.
Yeah, that made me laugh. And then Ilmari, this is what you were talking about a few minutes ago, Mindy, with the language barrier.
Yes.
One of the things Ilmari says is, "This isn't my first cow show." Instead of like, "It's not my first rodeo."
Yeah.
That made me laugh a lot. But then my actual favorite quote, this is the swoon worthy one, also from Ilmari on the airplane. Her smile falls, talking about Rachel, of course. Her smile falls and I suddenly feel like kicking myself. I was making her smile and now she's not smiling anymore. And that, like, I just think that's really cute. Like,
so sweet.
yeah, like, I didn't realize I was enjoying making her smile until she stopped. And then it's like, well, wait, what happened? What did I do?
What I do?
Yeah.
What I do?
Yeah, I thought that was really cute. I loved
Yeah.
that. I loved it a lot. What about any questions that you guys have?
Okay, I have. Is Rachel gonna have a dilemma about just moving in with 2 dudes she had a threesome with? Like, she's just like, sure, I'll move in. This makes sense, right? And is she not at all freaked out that Jake thinks he's in love with her? Because he's just like, well, I fucking love you, so just move in, and we'll all just fuck all the time. And she's like, cool. I have this apartment that's paid for and all of my independence, but I'm gonna just move in with you 2 and fuck all the time.
I definitely think she jumped too quickly to that. She
I
did.
agree.
She did a little bit go back and forth in her head about it. Like, this is not a good
like a
idea.
paragraph.
I know, right? And she's like, this is not a good idea. And I'm like, no, it's not. And then all of a sudden she's like on board. But I think the whole thing about the Jake and soulmate and love thing is because if you didn't read the novella, the prequel novella,
Remind me what that's called.
it's called That One Night.
We'll put it in the
and-
show
That
notes.
one night.
And I'm going to tell you right now, it's basically just sex.
Sex.
So
Sex.
it's good, but it definitely gives you a little more insight into their connection and why they're connected and what it was about that night that connected them. So there's a little bit more there.
Was there loving and sharing and having? You just said connect like 5 times.
Sharing and giving.
And with the having and giving and sharing and loving. But yeah, I just,
But it's a little like
she's this very independent woman who worked really hard for this fellowship. She has a paid apartment. I cannot envision someone being like, yeah, I'll just, cool, no problem. Does she keep the apartment at all? I haven't read ahead.
I think that the apartment would just be empty because the team presumably would have already paid for the length of her fellowship, right?
So, and then I really just need to know when Caleb and Jake are going to hook up. That's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm most looking forward to.
that's what I'm looking forward to. I said more hookups, Jake and Caleb.
I need
in
some
particular.
That was actually one of my questions. In this first section, I was very confused at times at what really the dynamics between Caleb and Jake actually are.
It sounds like they've had threesomes with people before.
Yeah, it does. And it was just, there was kind of like one throwaway line about sharing partners or something, and I was just kind of like fuzzy on what's going on
Do
there.
you know what it reminds me of a little bit? And I know, Whitney, that you've not read the Black Dagger Brotherhood, but it reminds me of Quinn and Blay and John Matthew a lot.
Yeah.
And John Matthew is my favorite. Oh my God, he's so fucking hot. But yeah, it reminds me of like them
That
hooking up
dynamic.
with girls and then kind of like, not John Matthew, but Blay and Quinn falling in love with each other.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I
That might have
didn't
been
know
my
that.
first
There
MM
is. I
romance.
know what you're talking about. It's like a throwaway line where he says,
We haven't done this since college or
Yeah, or
something,
something
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah. There was just, I'm confused. I'm confused about what's going on there.
you learn a little bit more about it in the next section.
Yeah.
So,
and then
something to look forward to.
I was just about to say, you just said something you're looking forward to, Deb. Did you, Mindy? Did
that
you?
Was the same thing. That was.
Oh,
I'm looking
thing?
for the more hookups.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing more of Ilmari because he was my favorite, and he kind of only came in right at the end of this section, right? Mm-hmm. But also, I kind of the same thing that you're saying, Deb. The lack of conflict or even inner conflict with Rachel of like, yeah, sure, let's move in together. That played weird when I was reading it. Like it just, I was like, wait, what? But I'm looking forward to kind of seeing more of the story unfold because. I mean, you guys, we've talked about this. I don't know if we've talked about it on the air, but we all know I love a fated mate, right? Like, I love the soulmate trope, a fated mate trope. Like, that's me.
Well, in mine and yours first reverse harem or why choose was Bonds That Tie, and
all of ours.
It was was it? Yeah. And I mean,
Fated
there was a
mates.
paranormal reason for the why choose.
And this is the first why choose. You know, I've read that why choose, right, where it is a fated mate situation, and so I'm like,
they like can't help.
I'm okay with that, right? But I
it makes
love
them stronger,
right? I love a soulmate, and I hate an infidelity trope, and so. Coming into this book has been hard for me because
I can see why that would be.
It's not infidelity, but it feels like it kind of. Like I've really struggled with this whole like Jake is my soulmate thing, but I really like this guy too.
Fuck other guys.
Yeah,
well, you're still unsure. Like Jake, really at this point is to me the only one that feels like he's all in.
Yes,
I agree with that.
And then the other two are kind of waffling, and there's other issues, and there's stuff that they're going through. So I can definitely see where. Especially if that's like those things are something that are important, super important
for me
to you,
personally,
for you.
right?
And things that you enjoy or don't enjoy in another, book. I totally can see that, but I just keep reading.
Well, and I'll go ahead and say I did read ahead, right? Yeah. And I'm glad that I did because I'll have more. I feel like I'll have more to say about it in the last episode, the last section talking about it. Yeah. But at this point in reading it was a little bit of a struggle,
there
just
definitely
because of how I like
a reason
tropes, you know?
why she needs all. I'm just going to go ahead and say all three of them because she and Amari for sure get together.
I don't think that's really a spoiler because he gets his own POV chapters, so I feel like
But there is, and because that was when I started reading. This was my very first like contemporary why choose, where it's like where there wasn't a paranormal reason,
right?
And I went in very skeptical because I was like, this is not going to work for me, like because kind of the same thing. I thought like it's going to feel like infidelity.
Well, and the three of us are, rarely are there three friends that have had decade-long marriages, right? Yeah. So I think for us to think about introducing someone new feels really weird. Because we're all serial monogamers, right? Yeah, which again, there's nothing wrong with having more than one partner if that's something everyone agrees on.
Well, and that's part of the thing I love about this too, is because it did open my eyes to some, again, like this does happen in our society, and there are people who feel this way, and it's been very interesting to me to sort of discover how kind of the workings of that is.
Well, and if you listen to our interview with Emily Rath, she talks about the reason she started writing these books was she was coming to grips with her own sexuality, right, and being queer. And I love what she has to say about like if it's consenting adults, who cares
what they're doing,
right? Well, yeah, and that, I mean, coming back to like what I'm looking forward to, I guess, having read ahead, I look forward to seeing how it all plays out because by the time for me anyway, by the time I got to the end of the book, some things that I was struggling with at this point, I understand more, right?
So you've read it all at this point?
I did, yeah. I wasn't gonna, and then I did it anyway. So.
It's like me when we did Midnight Mass. I'm just going to watch 3 episodes.
Right.
I'm going to finish 7 episodes later. I'm bawling in the side room. And my husband...
Riley, no!
Well, my husband hears Aaron screaming in episode 6, and he's like, what is happening in there? I'm like, don't come in here. I'm ugly right now.
Womp, womp.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about with this section?
I think I've said enough.
Yeah. I think we covered a lot.
Yeah. What about our nerdiest thing of the week? Who wants to go first with that?
I started the Bridge Kingdom series, and I kind of pulled a Whitney where I read 2 books in 3 days. And then
isn't it great?
the third book is double the length of the first two. I'd say for a fantasy book, the first two books are relatively short, but they don't feel short. And the world building is just very easy to get into. It's not so much where you're like, wait, what kind of creature is that and all that. And it's mistaken identities, like a little bit of fated mates, right? Like saving your kingdom. And
all the good stuff.
All the good stuff. And it's just got a lot of really great angst in it, which I love, like forced proximity, marriage of convenience type of thing.
Those are some good ones.
Right. And it has just been so refreshing to read. I actually have had the physical book for like a year, and honestly was just getting a little burnout on ARC reading and just wanted to really read some things that I chose, right? So I picked this up and now I can't get enough of it. And by the time this episode airs, book 4 will be out and I will have read it by then. But I highly, highly recommend The Bridge Kingdom. It's Danielle Jensen. And knowing how much people liked her, I had actually applied for her ARC for her new series that comes out right around the time this will air. And I'm not ready yet, but I'm really excited.
Yay.
Yeah, she's great.
Cool.
Yeah.
So for me, not really into audiobooks, or hadn't been. And I decided that in order to do it, I have to be like a captive audience, right? I can't just I can't even be like cleaning or doing something else, or I won't be able to like focus. So I decided I've got a 15-minute drive in the morning and a 15-minute drive home from work. So that's 30 minutes a day I can listen to a book, right? And I'm really, really enjoying it. I started out actually with The Bonds That Tie, but now I'm actually listening to and reading Pucking Around at the same time.
How are the bonds that tie in audio?
I really enjoy it. I only listened to the second one, actually, because the first one wasn't available.
Does Griffin sound sexy?
Griffin.
Well, it's just, there's no male voices. It's all a female.
But does she do voices?
Yes.
Okay.
She does it really well.
I don't like when men do female voices, but I like when
I
females.
agree.
I don't
Yeah.
love when men do
Because the
female
men
voices.
always make the women sound like
I know.
I'm like, we don't sound like that.
I'm actually, that's one of the things I'm struggling with in Pucking Around too, listening to it. But I think that's just
The narrator's voices.
the narrator's great. I mean, like they're not doing a poor job. It's
Right.
just, I think it's difficult to make that sound realistic to me. But
Yeah.
no, the narrator for The Bonds That Tie is great. She's got a very good range of just
Different
high and
voices
low and
for
different
everybody.
voices. Yeah, she does really well.
Are they on Libby? Is that where you got it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool,
I just
cool.
realized, by the way, that I sang Griffin. Sometimes I do that and I don't realize I do it out loud until it's too late. Sorry.
It's
I love
something
it.
I actually really love
I
about
know.
you.
I adore
Randomly
it.
break out into
Quiet
song.
and hearing.
But I do also, though, before we move on, I do have another nerdy thing. So
You don't
listening
have
to,
4?
No, I don't. Just have 2. Listening to and reading Pucking Around at the same time, I feel like is pretty nerdy. And it really just doesn't get nerdier than me wearing my Hey Hurricane shirt to record this
noticed.
podcast.
Oh, let me see.
Yeah, it's cute.
Oh, that's cute.
It's really cute.
Yeah, so I wanted to match our drink and match
Yeah.
our
Hurricane.
Hey Hurricane.
That's really cute.
I said, hey, Hurricane.
Hey, hurricane. That's what I imagine Caleb's voice sounds like. It's got to be deep.
Whitney will not be narrating. What's your nerdiest thing?
Well, my nerdiest thing is, The Fire in the Flesh just came out by Jennifer L. Armentrout. And I really, really, really loved it. And I read it like basically all in one sitting.
You pulled a Whitney?
I pulled a Whitney and I sobbed. I sent you guys the picture and then I made it a meme on our page. And then the publisher of the book shared that crying picture on their Instagram stories. So that was kind of embarrassing, but also not really,
Also kind of
because
fun, yeah.
I mean, if a writer can get an emotional response out of you, then they did a really great
Right.
job.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
not crying for
I
100
love us
pages,
some
but,
Jennifer L. Armentrout.
yes.
Yeah,
She's
that-
amazing.
That's definitely my nerdiest
If
thing.
you've listened to this podcast at all.
Right.
You know
we love
this.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's it for this episode. Next week, we will still be discussing Pucking Around chapters 41 through 72.
Can't wait.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Like what you heard in this episode? Follow Our Nerdiest Thing on Instagram at instagram.com/Our Nerdiest Thing or Facebook at facebook.com/Our Nerdiest Thing. We love hearing from fellow nerds. Email us at ournerdiestthing@gmail.com.